Hey everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's soap making video, which is not only a Patreon soap design challenge, but I'm also going to unbox a brand new mold that I have got here. Now, for a little while I have been contemplating playing with natural colours in soaps and trying to really perfect how to use them. I have used natural colours in the odd thing, but I've never really purely dedicated a soap to natural colouring. Now, I was getting a little bit bamboozled about what colours I wanted to pick to use as my first sort of real experiment, so I decided to put it out to my patrons as their Patreon design challenge to list up to 3 natural colorants I could use in a soap. Now, I put all the suggestions as usual into a soapy jug, and the one that I drew out came from Ann Egan, who runs Burnett Bath and Body, and I'll leave links to her business down in the description box. And she wanted to see me use madder root, indigo powder and some activated charcoal, so we will be making a soap using those. First, what I'm going to do is unbox my new mold here, and then we will get on to making an infusion with the indigo powder and the madder root powder. I'll leave them for a couple of days so that the oil gets really nice and infused, and then we'll go ahead and make the soap. But first of all, let's get this open. So as a part of this sort of experimenting, I want to kind of change the design of my soaps from the short squat or wide squat soaps, my sort of normal soaps, to tall and skinny. Just so it's a little bit of a difference so people can see that there's going to be a difference between my decorative soaps and these more natural style of soaps. And I'm also going to have my sort of everyday range in this new size. Now, Vinny from Soap Cutter AU announced that he was making some new size molds, and this one was just going to fit in with my plans perfectly. Now, Vinny is from Soap Cutter AU, and there are always links in the bottom of my video descriptions. Vinny was the one who sent me that gorgeous slab splitter. And I absolutely love that cutter. So this one I have actually ordered and paid for this cutter, or for this mold. So let's get it out here. We don't need the bag, we'll just chuck it on the floor and clean up a bit later. Let's get into the bubble wrap, and then I will show you this gorgeous, I know it's going to be gorgeous, mold. Alright, so let's take a look. I love the fact that it has got some feet on the bottom of here. So when it's on the bench, that is really secure. It is not moving anywhere. It's got a lid on it. Now, to be honest, I'm probably not going to use the lid. I don't gel my soaps or anything like that. But it's there as an option if I need it. And then we have this beautiful silicone liner on the inside here. And we've got these clips as well. So the silicone liner does sit down a little bit inside our mold. And then once it's down there, we can use these clips. These are brilliant. They just hold the silicone in place until we get our soap poured in here. So once the soap's in there, then we can take these out, and that silicone mold is going to sit up straight. It's just going to make pouring in here a little bit easier for me. So when it does come time to actually unmolding this one, the end comes out of here, making it nice and easy to actually tip this up and get our soap out. So let's go and start preparing to make the soap using our natural colorants. And the first thing I'm going to do is go and get some oil and start infusing these colors. Alright, so we're going to get on to making our infusions. I have got my indigo powder and I have got some madder root powder, and I'm going to be using these clip lock jars to be making them in. To do my oil infusion, I've picked one of the oils that is in my soap recipe, one that usually features in most of them, and that would be olive oil. I'm using just a plain olive oil, not extra virgin. Extra virgin olive oil is green in colour, so it's going to affect the infusion. This one is a nice golden colour, so I know we're not going to be affected by the colour of our olive oil. First thing I'm going to do is weigh out about 5 grams of my powders into my jar, and then I'm going to pour in about 100 grams of olive oil. So now that we've got our powders in our oil here, I'm going to go and find somewhere nice and warm to actually leave these, and I'm going to let them sit for a week to really infuse. Possibly the longer I leave them to sit, the darker we're going to get out of the colour, but I'm going to leave it for a week and see what I get, and then we'll be back in just a moment and we'll create a soap using these natural colours. Okay, so we're going to move on to making this soap, but confession time first. This is actually the second time I'm going to be making this soap, and it was not because I forgot to record the first one. I thought I had, but realised I hadn't. I did actually start recording the previous, or the first attempt at making this soap, and there is actually footage on the SD card right up into the point where I split the soap out for the colours, and then I didn't realise the camera had actually switched off until, or that it stopped recording until it switched off just as I was scraping all the buckets out. At first I did think I'd forgotten to record it, but no, there is actually footage there, but not enough that I could wing a video. I knew what the problem was. The SD card has been playing up for quite a number of months, and a couple of weeks ago the computer was telling me the SD card was damaged. So I think there was something wrong with the SD card, stopped recording midway through. So I now have a new SD card and I'm going to re-attempt to make this soap. But it was actually quite good that it did cut out in the first place, because I don't think I actually left the oils that I had here long enough to infuse, because here is my original attempt. I absolutely love it, but it's certainly not as dark and bold as what you see some of the soap makers, particularly Holly, who does a lot of natural colours. She does some amazing coloured soap, natural coloured soaps, and she gets beautiful colours with indigo. Mine certainly hasn't come up nearly as bold as what hers does, but that is my first attempt. I do love the pastel shades, the sort of creamy area. It's got a slight peachy look to me off camera. That was the madder root powder, so you can see that definitely didn't add any colouring. And then this light eggshell blue, that is the indigo powder. I love the colour it's come up, but it's certainly not that really dark rich colour that you see so many people get. And then this dark grey, and some of my patrons were saying it looks like navy blue, is actually activated charcoal, which I purposely only used a small amount to get a grey colour out of it, because I didn't want it to overpower the other two colours. I do really like how this one came up, but I want to see if we can redo it, get it darker. Plus, I wanted to show making it on here. So we've got a new SD card. So we'll get, hopefully, proper filming. I'll keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't stop recording. I have my colorants. So they have actually now been sitting here for about 2.5, almost 3 weeks, just infusing. So hopefully we'll get a beautiful color come out of these. I'm still not convinced that this madder root powder is going to give a good color. I've always struggled with it. It could just be the quality of the powder that I've had. I may have to get some more in from another supplier, but we'll see. I also have some activated charcoal in here. I'm going to try and go for a different pour this time, just so I don't end up with two soaps that look the same. I have got a blend of essential oils in here. Now this one is actually a lot more orange when I poured it out the bottle than what I was expecting it to be. So it could actually help with that madder root colouring. Other than that, I have all of my oils, I have my lye water ready, and I also have the mould all prepped from off of Vinnie. I've got my silicone liner in, and I've used my clips just to hold my liner up while I pour. Once I'm almost at the top, I'll be able to take these clips off. So let's get on to making this soap using the natural colorants, and hopefully the camera doesn't switch off on me. Okay, so the good news is the camera did not shut off on me this time, so it must have been an SD card problem. That is the soap in the mold. I'm going to be keeping it very, very simple. I've got this new range of soaps in mind, and I just want to keep them nice and simple on the top, so that is all I am doing. I really shouldn't have used this particular essential oil blend in here. The blend is something that I do use in a number of my other products and people really like, and I wanted to see how it was going to behave in a soap, whether I could actually bring it out in the range. It has behaved beautifully. It's so fluid and it's smelling really good at the moment, but it has distorted the shade of the colors that we're going to get. So that madder root powder should not be that bright yellow that it has gone, and it's also affected that indigo. As you saw at the beginning, it went quite yellow, so I added some more of my indigo infusion in, and I actually grabbed a little bit of what you would call the sludge in the bottom of it, like the actual powder that's all settled to the bottom. So this bar is going to have a slight exfoliation feel to it as well, but I really wanted to try and get a different color in here, so I added some more in with that bit of powder into the bottom, and we've got that sort of green color instead. But you never know, overnight it actually might change colors as it sort of all saponifies. So we'll leave it sit here and we'll be back very shortly. We'll cut it open and we'll see what's happened on the inside. Okay, so we are back, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to get the mold out of here. One of these ends, this end here, just simply comes on out, and then we can tip our mold up. I know you can't see the top, but we can then just pull our soap out. Now we've got it out, let's get it down so you can see it, and it just pulls away so easily. Lovely silicone liner. Let's see what is going on with the colours in here. Let's pull that back a bit. Trying to do it so you can actually see me taking this out of the liner, but it's just so long, it's making it hard. So I'm just going to peel that liner back and off my mould or off my soap. Colours are looking actually quite nice. Let me get you back into position and we'll get the cutter and we'll cut it open. Okay, so we've got Ida. Let's get her open up and get this loaf of soap on here. So I'm gonna put it down. Obviously this one is a little bit too long, but that's okay. I do still have it so I can get a couple of end pieces off here. So we have some lovely soap ends to give away. So let's make sure it is lined up, and it is. And through we go. Oh, it's a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Just going to make sure I catch the ends so it doesn't flip off and do a funny cut. Ooh, and it's looking nice on the inside. Let's take a look. So, oh, it's a bit sticky as well. Look at that. That's come up really, really nicely. Now, with regards to, I'm going to see if I can get a bit closer. I'm so far away from the camera. With regards to the colour, the essential oil has affected some of it, but not as badly. So as it's saponified overnight, it has come back down into the colours that it should have been. So we've got that sort of eggshell blue that I always get with Indigo. I've got that sort of brighter yellow from that madder root powder. It probably actually shouldn't be that bright in colour, but I'm really pleased that it has gone that colour, because as we saw from the other soap, let me grab it, you can see that this one here does have more of a cream colour to it, whereas this one has got that more yellow sort of tinge. The essential oil blend that I used did have mandarin in it, and last time I used it, it wasn't that dark, so I was a bit surprised when I poured it out of the bottle, but it was too late. I already had my mind set on making it with that essential oil. But you can see that this blue is almost the same colour as what was in the original soap, so it hasn't affected the Indigo too much. Really, really happy with the swirls. What I was originally going to try and do is put the madder root across the bottom, get some black through the middle, and get the blue on the top, but it was just so fluid, it wasn't going to let me do that as the design. But I'm really pleased with all of these swirls that have come through. Really happy with it. Let's grab the next piece. I'm just going to have a quick smell. You can definitely smell the mandarin that was in it. It's taken on a different smell. As I said before, it's an essential oil blend that I use in a number of my products already, and I wanted to see how it went in soap. It does actually smell different in soap to what it does in my other products. It's part of my Lavender Dreams range. It's not terrible, it's really nice, but it's certainly, you wouldn't have picked it as being the same essential oil blend that I used. But really, really pleased with it. I am going to continue playing with natural colours to see if I can get some of those really rich, beautiful colours that you see so many people get. I'll leave links down in the description box to a couple of the channels that I do watch that use natural colours, particularly Holly's channel. She is just absolutely amazing when it comes to using natural colours. And you've also got people like Patrick over at Soapy Oaks who uses a lot of natural colour. And then you've also got George from Dawn Organics. He uses a lot of clays and things in his soaps to get these beautiful colours. So I'll leave some links down below so you can see how natural colours can actually come up in soap. But I am going to keep playing with them to see what I can come up with. So I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me on my journey of using natural colours in my soap. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one, and I will see you then. Bye.